Hello and welcome to Straight Talk, Supply Chain Insights, the podcast for your supply chain leader who is on the go and wants to be in the know. And now, your host, Lora Cecere.
This is a recording for the respondents who are going to be going through the outside-in planning course that'll happen in August. And what I wanted to do was interview Fred Baumann, and Fred and I worked together for 2.5 years on the testing of outside-in processes. And I wanted Fred to give you some perspective because I think it's good to have some perspective as you get ready to go through the class. So Fred, welcome. And we're going to spend just about 10 minutes chatting about your experience, but start by introducing who you are and your time with supply chain.
Thanks, Laura. It's great to be with you. And it was great learning with you and the other team members of the Outside In Initiative. And a little bit about me. I've been in the space about 30 years, started in industry from IBM, Pillsbury, and General Mills, and then technology roles, product roles where I rolled out demand planning and S&OP types of solutions in the marketplace. So it was a great exercise to think differently around planning and to think about outside in as a new pivot point.
So when you were signed up to work on outside in, what were your thoughts and what did you learn in the process?
Well, I was joined by several senior leaders. Many of them had 20 plus years, led supply chains of, significant size companies. And, I came in with maybe a little more swagger than I should have. I think you helped correct that. But, one of the things that I would say first off to the participants is have an open mind. Unlearning is probably going to be the biggest challenge that you're going to face. And people are hardwired to traditional processes.
Amazingly hardwired, isn't it? It's just, oh my gosh. And what were your key unlearnings as you went through this program?
Well, I think there was a couple of key ones. One is that the data that companies that we piloted with, dominant was still internal. It was what was coming out of their ERP systems. It was history and shipment oriented. And there was this great opportunity to think about outside signals as a new input, right? And I think this myth that the data has to be perfect, right? With all these, different metadata data types, social signals, et cetera, is not true. We proved that it didn't have to be perfect. I think the second one was this focus on accuracy versus latency. And, anytime you start a demand planning initiative as an example, what's the first metric people run to, MAPE or something else? Well, what we found is a huge goldmine of opportunity when you think about process latency, demand latency, market latency as a new opportunity point for guiding your plans.
Isn't it amazing that people just accept that an order is current and don't see that it can be 30 to 60 days off the market and the impact of that? In fact, one of the things I've seen in my studies is with the elongation of the long tail, sometimes demand latency is longer than lead time. And so we go into sales and operations planning thinking that we're talking about the market, but really we're talking about what happened 30 to 60 days ago. And, the ability to use new forms of technology is also, I think, an unlearning. The graph, the ontological representations, the planning master data. And it's interesting to me that that's a struggle for people as well, because they're so used to buying technology the old way. Your thoughts on why we can't be more progressive in adopting these new technologies?
Well, I'm going to say something controversial, and that is technology is not going to fix the problem. Right. Technology infused with the right processes and techniques will, right? And so I think a lot of failures have taken place. I mean, we just look at what happened in the COVID period, where people put their machine learning models or statistical models on the shelf, put their fireman's hat on and return to spreadsheets, right?
Right.
So I think my guidance would be, we have to think about, agility and resilience, the focus on latency. There's huge amounts of latency that's driven by the S&OP processes, the traditional S&OP processes. We saw that in one of our pilots where it was 4 weeks between the observation of a decision to the, completion of an action. So those are the things that I think we have to focus on as an industry.
Right. And technology is an enabler, but only if we can rethink the process. Well, Fred, I look forward to having you come back as a speaker to the class, and good luck in your career, and thank you for your wisdom.
Thank you, Laura.